Welcome back to the YouTube channel, folks. On today's episode, I am going to review the upcoming docu-series dropping on the Daily Wire, plus Convicting a Murderer. Convicting a Murderer it unveils the shocking truth behind one of the most controversial criminal cases in recent history. In Netflix's Making a Murderer, Steven Avery was portrayed as an innocent victim of corrupt law enforcement. But there's more to the story than what we were shown. Join Candace Owens as she sets the record straight by exposing the hidden evidence in the murder of Teresa Halbach. The first 3 episodes of the series are going to be available on the Daily Wire Plus on September 8th, with episodes airing weekly up until the finale on October 26th. There's 10 episodes in total. Episode 1 will also premiere on X, formerly Twitter, on September the 8th. Now, when I was watching the series, there's a few things that I want to point out here that I have some notes here before I kind of dive into my review, but there's definitely some interesting things, some parallels here that I thought were quite interesting in the dynamic of how the series was kind of approached. And what I was concerned with is trying to make it something more than it needed to be. And to be honest with you, it's the polar opposite of that. I really, really enjoyed this kind of deep dive into this world. Just like we were with Making a Murderer, you can't help but be sucked back into the world of Steven Avery and begin to question whether or not Netflix either A, avoided what was shown in the series or purposely left out some of the stuff to make the story something more than it was. This case blew up all over social media. And I think the case differences here are front and center for the viewers to bring their own perspectives. One of the wildest things to hear is people talking about how they upended their entire lives to follow this case. People were obsessed with this case on a level that had never been reached before, right? With the change of social media, how things kind of unfolded, everybody felt like they were a detective. Everybody felt like they were a doctor. Everybody felt like they can convince themselves that they could settle what really what happened with this entire thing. Now, with this series, you kind of see that maybe there was individuals that were going to bat for an individual that you were only getting a little piece of the puzzle, right? And just one of the examples here, in Making a Murderer season 1 over on Netflix, you kind of got this idea that, Steven Avery one time broke into a tavern with his friend and stole $14 in a sandwich. However, the truth was Steven Avery broke into the tavern not once, not twice, but 3 times. He trashed the place inside. First time, alone, broke a window. Second time, ripped cardboard off the broken window. Third time, broke plywood off the broken window. Other weekend escapades into places and stealing things. Broke into the Mott residence, stolen goods at his father's cabin. Steven Avery and a friend got caught and arrested. Stole on his honeymoon with Lori Matheson. Unscrewed the conduct in the garage door, and then stole a push lawnmower and a small mini bike. Okay, it's just these little small things throughout each of these episodes that when you're watching them, you're like, you start to question what we saw on this Netflix documentary. Personally, I feel like the best part of these 3 episodes was the rolling out of the facts that Candace Owens promised to share, right? Throughout these episodes, Candace Owens appears in these episodes, but she lets the research along with the investigators speak their truth and dissect everything that went down. It's not just Candace Owens talking about or having conversations with the individuals. This is a docuseries just like you see on any other streaming platform. In these types of shows, you want evidence and details, and that's exactly what you get. You don't get the hearsay, but using the evidence found in the court findings, the police reports, and people that went through these things, the conversations that are had with the brothers, the sisters, and everybody that's kind of involved in these scenarios, you get that on display. It's kind of crazy to think. Now, again, you can go into this with an optimistic point of view, but I do think that there's a lot of eye-opening things, because you look at Steven Avery and people ran to his aid, but you hear about how he manipulated his family, his brothers, his wife. His wife states in a statement, for some reason this was never like brought to the fruition, but she thought that if Steven would have never went to jail, she would have been dead. Like, it was like they said, it was one of those things. It was like they said Steven only broke into places and stole stuff, but never bashed people. That was an actual quote. I was like, what? It's, sure, just because you break into a house doesn't mean you're a murderer, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what that means. But the other crazy aspect was the lighting the cat on fire incident that kind of goes into display and talked about a little bit more throughout these first 3 episodes. Is when you watch it, it was like I was coerced into it, and I was coerced into lighting the cat on fire. But what you don't know, and what we find out, is not only does Steven Avery play a big part in the cat being lit on fire, but when this cat tried to escape, he threw the cat back into the fire. Like, this, to me, I don't know. It was just a truly an eye-opening experience. One of the things I am a little bit concerned about, this is a 10-episode journey. So for me, docuseries tend to overstay their welcome. But if I'm going off the first 3 episodes, it delivers everything that I could have wanted and more. It's easily jump-starting one of the best docuseries of 2023. I won't crown it that yet, because I would like to see the 7 other episodes, because you're starting to be concerned with it overstaying their welcome. But for me, I was a little bit optimistic heading into this, but Candace Owens and her team have done a great job of setting a stage for what's ahead. And I am certainly intrigued at what unfollows over the next 7 episodes. Folks, as I said, Convicting a Murderer drops on the Daily Wire, plus the first 3 episodes on September 8th, with weekly episodes until October 6th. The first episode will be made available on X, aka Twitter, on September 8th. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments and what you thought about the dynamic between these 2 scenarios, watching one, watching the other. I think after watching the 10 episodes of this series, I really want to kind of go back and watch The Making a Murderer, maybe with that different lens, and kind of see the give and take aspect of these things. But one hell of a start here. I'm very, very excited for the future episodes, and I will talk to you guys next week, diving into episode 4.